In this video, we're going to look at 3 simple and effective mixing techniques and how you can use them to elevate your songs. Let's do it. Aloha Gang, welcome to the channel, your #1 spot for studio talk. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and everything that I mentioned in this video is going to be linked down below. As an independent artist, I know how much time goes into the writing, the recording, the editing, the rewriting, and how discouraging it can be at the other end when your mixes come out muddy, flat, lifeless. There are hundreds of techniques that the top producers use to get their mix just right. This takes years of trial and error, ear training, hours of practice, but that doesn't mean that you can't start making your mixes sound much better today. Right now, I'll be going over 3 simple techniques to bring balance, clarity, and dynamics to your mix. And make sure you stick around to the end because I got 3 bonus tips to make your mixes go much faster. Starting off, #1, we have Headroom. No, not that. Headroom is the space between your highest peaks, the transients, and 0 dB. So many mixes start with every track all the way up, and inevitably it's going to cause your overall mix to start to clip. Clipping is a form of waveform distortion that occurs when an amplifier is overdriven and attempts to deliver an output voltage or current beyond its maximum capability. When you don't have headroom, you lose all of your dynamics. For example, let's take a look at these 2 waveforms. The first one, you can actually see the journey that you're taking. It has its ups and downs. It has room to breathe. If it was a roller coaster, you'd want to jump back in line and ride again. As opposed to this one, it's just a flat line. Everything is pushed to the top, so your ears are just getting pummeled the whole time, and nothing's going to stand out as a result. A good rule of thumb when bouncing your final mix is to have the loudest peak at -6 dB. That way, when you're going to mastering, even if you're going to master it yourself, you have a lot of room to work with. #2 is static mixing. Before we apply even any EQ or any plugins, we want to get a balanced mix. One technique is to bring all the faders down to start, and you gradually bring up one instrument at a time. I like to start with drums and vocals. Those usually carry the song and have the most rhythm. Get those balanced first, then bring up the bass and let it sit somewhere that can back up the drums, or vice versa depending on the genre. You may want to have the drums backing up the bass, but again, leave headroom. Don't be afraid to crank up your speakers and leave your faders low. And just start here. Get those balanced in a place that starts clean and where each instrument has their own space. Then go down the line. What's next? You may be adding guitars, keys, maybe a sample. Bring that up slowly until it sits somewhere in the mix that you're happy with it. This is the point where you figure out what your mix is gonna sound like. What should be out front, what's gonna be highlighted, and once you have that, adding the EQ, the effects, and everything else is gonna be much easier. Are you guys with me so far? Is there a technique that you're using right now that you think I should cover? Drop it in the comment below. I'll make sure to put it in a future video, or I'll put it in the pinned comment so we can all share. Because for tip #3, we have the high pass filter. It's the one that looks like, kind of goes like, it looks like this, yeah. You know, like that, like this, like. A high pass filter is a type of EQ that eliminates frequencies beyond a specified cutoff point. This is a great tool that you can apply to almost every track. It's going to get rid of unwanted noise and harmonics that you may not even be aware of because it's beyond our limit of hearing, but it's the silent killer of headroom. Remember what I said about headroom? Remember that? For most instruments, the low-end harmonic frequency is muddying and gross, so it's a great way of making space for the heavy hitters like the kick and the bass. But don't leave out the rhythm section either. Running a bit of high-pass filter on the kick will bring out the punch and even tighten your bass. But I want you guys to play around with this and have a little bit of nuance because it's easy to get carried away and overdo it. All right, you guys, so here we have it. 3 bonus tips to make your mixes go faster. Number 1, learn your shortcuts. To do this, go to Google and just type in keyboard shortcuts and then whatever DAW that you're using. This is going to drastically speed up your mixing and editing time when you can seamlessly switch between the features. Number 2 is save your presets in your plugins. If you're mixing more than one song and you just finished your first song, if you have the same vocals, drums, guitars, then you can just pop in the plugin, pick the save preset, and you just saved yourself a load of time not having to EQ from scratch. Number 3 is template your sessions. Ableton calls it default session, Pro Tool calls it templates, FL Studio has a whole slew of templates to choose from, and this is going to get you creating faster and in the end mixing faster. Any time saved is more time to create. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you drop a like, follow me on Instagram at AlohaAlex, and remember to keep creating, keep sharing, and much aloha. See you next time.